Welcome back. So in this video we're going to be talking about how do you know when it's time to start giving readings. It was a viewer's question, and in today's video that's what we'll be covering. So I thought this was quite an interesting question because there's lots of mixed ideas out there in your groups, in your circles, in the community of spirituality. When is the best time to start reading? And it's quite a simple answer, really. I think once you've done a little bit of development and you've done a few practice runs and you're good to go, would be absolutely the best time to start. Now, I don't think it's about sitting 4 years in a development or 8 years, 10 years before you're let loose on the public, because the public banner as such can be kind of modified. So the way I did it, for me was the best way for me, and I'm gonna offer that way to you, the viewer that asked the question, and hopefully some of you can take something from it. So I started in development, in circle, in a spiritual church, and it was an awareness circle. You learn about energy first, and then you learn about a little bit of psychic mechanics, and then you're finally let loose to run to the spirit world. Very old school way of teaching, and it was the way that I was introduced to it. But I was left feeling frustrated, it wasn't moving fast enough, and I wanted more. And like many of you, I thought practice was key. I thought practice was the way to go, and how wrong I was. So the best advice I can give you on when's the best time to start is when you can hold a link. I'm aware of a lady that steps forward, and as I work with this lady, she draws my mind to, she makes me aware of, she shows me, she tells me, and I'm holding the link fine. So at that point, you can start giving readings. Now, I'm not saying set up shop, open up a stall and you start doing readings from there. You wouldn't like that, and not many people would like that. The egotistical people of the world would absolutely love that. But if there's a genuine, your heart's in the right place and you want to develop to be the best that you can, then this way is going to be kind of beneficial to you. At this point, I would offer readings to close people, like maybe circle members that you've developed with, friends that you've associated in that area. And I would just go through that process initially. There don't have to be a charge or anything at that point. And then move on to the friends of those people. And what will happen is this will offer you an insight to what you're letting yourself into with the public. And what I mean is that the friend of the like-minded person will have friends that aren't so into this kind of thing and they don't really believe it. But you're my friend and I'll sit with your friend if it helps you out. So you get that kind of approach. So they're not completely negative, they're not completely closed down, but they're not really on board with the idea of having a reading. This will introduce that negative element that you are going to find when you work with the public. Not in every scenario, but certainly a large portion. You're being judged, and are you any good, and can you actually do this, is going to be a huge part of the ingredients within that mixing bowl that we present to the spirit world when we're let loose on the public. So this will give you like a real-time interaction with the spirit world and maybe a stranger. You don't really know them. It's a friend of a friend. And then what will happen is as you start to get good, reasonable at this, they'll then tell other friends. They'll have their own circles of friends, and they'll be like, "Do you know what? I went for a reading. This person was actually all right. Maybe give them a go." And that's how the clientele will start to sort of build, and the more diluted the person so it'll be a friend of a friend of a friend, then there's kind of no knowledge that they are in effect a stranger to you. This will give you the best experience you can. The biggest mistake most people make is they sit in circle, they read for the same people week in, week out. They think practice, practice, practice on these people is a good thing. And it's really not. It's not a good thing. You are not you're not pulling your boundaries you're actually just growing comfortable with the situation. So you're actually more in a comfort zone than ever before, because you're reading for the same people week in, week out. They're learning who you are and how you say things. So they'll say yes loosely, they'll say no loosely, and your mediumship's not gaining any kind of momentum because you're just doing the same thing week in, week out. So back to the original question, when's the best time to start? The moment you can hold the link, and then start to push those comfort zones, start to work beyond that. Very quickly, maybe within 2 years, you'll have a full clientele that you have no idea about, that they are complete strangers, and now you can be let loose on the public. It doesn't matter who turns up, it doesn't matter how many readings you're doing, because you are trained in the real-time scenario, and at that point you can feel like you can start charging for your time and your development costs that you've invested into this mediumship development. So a very simple answer: the moment you can hold the link, now start pushing those boundaries. Thank you for the question. To the viewer that asked, I don't have your name down, I should have. But, I'm sure lots of people can take something from this, look at their own mediumship, look at how they practice. So get in the comments, as always, as I always instruct you, because it really helps the channel, help it keep growing. It's growing slowly, so thank you for all of you lot that's still sticking about and trying to get this channel up and running off the ground. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll catch you lot in the next video.